Hey, well, welcome everybody to the call. It's Brian Anderson. I've got a very special guest tonight that virtually every one of you knows. It's Russ Hayes out of Denver. Russ, are you on the call?
I'm on the call, man. How are you doing?
Oh, all right. I'm recovering from a crazy Warrior Forum weekend, so if my voice sounds a little crazy, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to that right now. But
I saw some
excellent
pictures on Facebook too.
Yeah. Notice that at no time did you see Brian smoking a hookah pipe, by the way. But very interesting for those of you that haven't seen those things before. They're like flavored tobacco that are apparently the rage in clubs and specialty bars and things. And a lot of people were into that. I had no idea, but it's interesting. So enough of that. But for everybody here, we welcome you. And tonight we want to dive, there's no pitch, there's no buy button, so let me save you from the usual 10 questions asking what the link is. This is just about sharing and strategizing. We'd welcome all your feedback and content, and Russ has graciously agreed to do the presentation, and he's going to take the lead since I have very little of a voice at this point. And we are going to talk about just from a big picture and then drill down talking about rep management and review monitoring and review management and all those kind of concepts. No right answer, but there probably are some wrong answers, I would think, that we can share. And Russ, with that being said, looks like we got a decent-sized group on here at this point. Why don't we pull the trigger? I turn it over to you, and I'll interrupt periodically and do some Q&A together if that's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay.
Let me check it for you. Hang on. Can you?
Anybody having any trouble hearing Mr. Hayes?
Oh, Paul and Joseph and so forth are saying too low. And yeah, for Stephen Miranda, hey, for those of you, yep, Russ will talk up. He actually has as big of a mouth as I do, so very rare is he too quiet. So
yeah, that's true too. And you can hear some of our phone calls. Me and Brian go from topic to topic so fast we never get anything accomplished in our phone calls. So maybe you can hear me a little bit better now, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So tonight's call is about review and reputation management. Basically, an overview of what's going on in the industry. It's actually it's a very hot, trending industry, just like mobile is. Just in 2012, they expect about a $700 million spend on some form of review or reputation management from small businesses. In 2013, they're expecting that to be $3 billion, and by 2015, it's expected to go to $5 billion in spending or services for review and reputation management, small businesses spending. That's a huge amount of money. Timing is everything. I remember back when AOL came out, I could have bought 1,000 shares of stock. Now, guess what? I'm kicking myself, right? So let's get started. So the call is about review and reputation management. We're just going to go over here to the next slide. First of all, what is reputation management? Well, it's the practice of understanding and influencing the customer's perception of a business or brand. And whether it be through local media or online, the customer's perception of your business is the reality. That's their reality. So reputation management is a form of shaping and molding the perception that you want to give off to users. Okay? Most of us would understand it as public relations. All right? The good old PR, the PR firm or the PR section of large corporations, their job was to project the image and affect the perception of the market the way that they want it to appear to be. Okay? So let's move along here. With the advent of the internet and social media, public relations or reputation management firms has become a primary issue due to search engine rankings. Because we all know that the search engines now are gauging sentiment, and they're also gauging social signals, both of which reviews encompass. They encompass the sentiment, or the how people feel about a business or a brand, and then they're also a form of social signal. So reputation and review management actually kind of kills two birds with one stone, and it's personally why I'm actually moving away from traditional SEO model and moving into reputation and review management for my clients. But there's a problem that's arisen from the fact that reviews and opinions from customers have become such an issue because of search engines. It's led to a practice called astroturfing. And some of you may know what astroturfing is, some of you may not. So we're just going to go to the next slide here, and I'll kind of explain what that is. Okay, so astroturfing occurs when an organization or business or an individual presents information or opinions on a subject without actually disclosing that they've been reimbursed for their statements in an intentional effort to give the appearance of an organic source. In other words, they're playing it off like it's a legit review from somebody, but they're not disclosing that there's a material connection there. This is what's called astroturfing. It's intended to give the statements the credibility of an independent identity by withholding information about the source's financial connection. This is very important that you understand what astroturfing is, because it can open business up to legal ramifications, because astroturfing is actually against the law, and it's governed by the Federal Trade Commission, and in the EU it's governed by their legal body as well. So, as I said, the FTC has jurisdiction over astroturfing as a part of its charter to regulate. It falls under unfair and or deceptive acts or practices that affects commerce. Okay? The goal is to ensure that any financial connection is disclosed to potential clients. The goal meaning keeping yourself legally on a good footing. And this is not what happens a lot with astroturfing. There's a lot of, if you go online on Google today and you search for reputation management, you start reading the services that they offer. They agree to syndicate content, create profiles. Some services even offer to do reviews, and some even let you post fake reviews, and they're not. And a lot of times we're posting these reviews on behalf of a client. So if we're doing that, then there's a material connection, because we're obviously not doing that for free. So you have to disclose that. Just like, if you all remember a couple of years ago, I think it was, Brian, where there was the big to-do about bloggers having to put a disclosure statement on their posts if they stood to make money from a product they endorsed that had an affiliate link in it.
Yeah, there was a big stink about that, for sure.
That's right. Well, that's what astroturfing is, and that covers the same, and that is the same area as reviews. So
hey, Russ, I gotta share this, and you guys should all appreciate. You're gonna love this. Keith Avery, man, I am laughing so hard right now. I had to unmute. So Keith just says, "Hey, everybody, the Warrior Forum should be 100% shut down." So
yeah, kind of.
You're probably right, Keith. In terms of going afoul of that rule, I mean, let's be honest. And then Russ, a few people are asking you. Craig Peters has a good statement. What about Yelp? If you don't buy their advertisement packages, they don't post your reviews. I don't think it's quite that bad, Craig, but it's amazing how if you do buy their advertising packages, every review you could ever dream of that's positive shows up.
Yeah,
so
that's all I can say is read their terms of service, and you'll be shocked. They own every piece of content, and the terms of service says they can do with it whatever they want. And they even have a moral disclaimer, you waive your moral rights, because people think that because of what they do, everybody says, oh, it's morally wrong, and da-da-da. The truth is that when users post reviews on Yelp, they give up all their rights to the content and give all the rights to Yelp to do with it whatever they please. So when they call up a business, hey, advertise with us? Nah, I don't think so. Then they just remove the reviews. They have the right to do that for using the website. Is it right? I don't think so. Is it morally objectionable? Absolutely. Is it against the law? No. So, yeah. Don't really care too much for Yelp. Or Google Plus, for that matter. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So anyway, you have to just keep in mind, and you have to be very careful, because when you are working for a client, you have an implied contract of acting in good faith towards your client. It doesn't even have to be in the contract. It's an implied covenant, which means you should not be doing anything that could harm your client in any way or potentially harm your client. And definitely you don't want to be on the side of something that could be illegal or is illegal. And hiding behind anonymous profiles and stuff like that doesn't matter. There's, if somebody wants to start looking into a company, they can get all that, especially a legal agency. They can get all that information and find out. I just read in the news about a company that had to pay $250,000 in fines because they got caught astroturfing, paying for reviews, and not disclosing that, even on third-party sites. So it's very, very important that you know what's right and what's wrong so that you can not only protect your client, but you also protect yourself. Because if you do something on behalf of your client, then your client comes back and gets sued, guess who's getting sued next? We don't even need to say who that is. So let's look at the definition and objectives of reputation management. Okay, the first part is the practice of monitoring the reputation of an individual or brand, addressing contents which are damaging to it, and using customer feedback to gain insight or get early warning signals to reputation problems. Most of reputation management today is focused on pushing down negative search results. Reputation management may attempt to bridge the gap between how a company perceives itself and how others view it. And that goes back to shaping the perception of the consumer market, of how the consumer looks at the business. And obviously, as a business owner, we want the consumer market to have a favorable perception of us and not a negative perception. Okay. Online reputation management is the practice of monitoring the internet reputation of a person, brand, or business with the goal of emphasizing positive coverage rather than negative reviews and feedback. And doing reputation management on individuals is often referred to as OIM, or online identity management. And there's also image management and personal branding and personal reputation management, PRM. So that's the full scope of what pretty much reputation management is and what the goals of reputation management are.
Hey, Russ, it's kind of funny on that last comment you made about the personal reputation management. I met, she may be on this call, there's a lady that's on our list that I had a really nice conversation with. Her whole business, you guys, is corporate executive reputation management. And for the most part, it's not necessarily bad. It's not like most of her clients have bad reputations. Is it that their reputations are, non-existent? So you call it quasi-branding and managing and, kind of finessing these VP and president and CEO level and board level people so that when somebody searches for their key terms, their LinkedIn profile or an article they wrote is very, very easy to find. And she's got a whole business around it. It has nothing to do with Google. It has nothing to do with mobile. It's very slick. And if you think the internet is gigantic and everybody who's at an executive level position wants to be shown in the best possible light, it's a great idea. I mean, I know there's others doing it, but I think it's really, really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go on here. Now, the ethics side of reputation management. First of all, one of the major problems in the current space is that there is no set industry, there is no industry set of best practices. There's no, I don't even believe there's an association to help govern review and reputation management as an industry or as a space online. So that's one for the back burner for me because I might make an association. And because of this, it's not always clear where to draw the line concerning disclosure, astroturfing, and censorship. It's truly the wild, wild west right now. Okay, you can pretty much go out there and do whatever you want. Of course, you can do it legally or illegally, but there's really no governing authority, self-governed authority. Just like roofers have the National Roofing Contractors Association and small business associations and stuff like that. There's really nothing out there that firms can become a member of to say, hey, we practice best practices for review management or reputation management. So it's truly the wild, wild west, guys. And that's typical for a budding industry. And reputation and review management is a budding industry online. All right, so let's look at some of the methods, or most of the methods used in online reputation management today. The big part of it is monitoring the internet for negative reviews or alerts. And there's Google alerts, and there's some other services out there that help provide alerts, but they pretty much just use Google for their alerts. Profile creation on social sites. This is referred to as inoculation. And what inoculation is basically is you take your brand and you go out and you create a profile on as many major social profiles and media outlets as possible so that your username for your brand is taken on as many sites as possible. So people cannot go, chances of someone being able to go, to a social site and create a profile with your company's name and squat it is reduced, and that's called inoculation. Content syndication. This is used to suppress negative reviews that rank high, and of course I said astroturfing, which is paid reviews, fake reviews, and reviews by proxy. Let me touch on what reviews by proxy is. A lot of stuff that I've seen going around, especially on certain forums, promotes the review by proxy. And there's a service, and I'm not here to judge and point fingers, but basically what they do is they say, well, you pay us, you submit your client's reviews, and then we'll put them on, the third-party business listings, or we'll get them published on the internet. Folks, that's reviews by proxy. And that's a material connection because there's money involved, and because you're not giving the true identity of the person that actually wrote the review. So that's legal exposure and legal risk. Again, I'm not going to tell anybody how to run their business, but you should know the facts about what's going on so that you know what you're opening your client, where you're exposing your client, and where you're exposing yourself. Paid reviews is pretty obvious. You have to disclose material connection, and fake reviews is just downright, we all know that, is illegal. Okay, so these are the most common methods today. Monitoring, which is a proactive approach or a reactive approach. Profile creation is a proactive approach called inoculation. Content syndication is a reactive approach, and that's used to suppress negative reviews that rank high. And then we just went over astroturfing. All right, so let's go a little bit further into each one of those segments. Google Alerts, or Me on the Web, which is Google's new little service. It's just a new name for Google Alerts. This is a feature used in Gmail. I'm sure many of you people, many of our great listeners know what that is. It lets you set up alerts based on keywords that you want to monitor. The keywords, business name, etc. One of the problems is that the crawling can be delayed, which means you get delayed alerts. You don't always get the alert even though you can choose for instant notification, you actually won't get that alert until Google crawls the page and finds the keyword of the business name. So today, somebody could post something about my business, but if Google doesn't crawl that till Friday, then I'm getting the alert a week late. Okay? So it's not 100% accurate as well, because if someone doesn't mention my keyword or my brand in their post, like let's say they go to my Yelp profile or my Kutsu profile, and in their review they don't actually mention the name in the content of the review, or they might not enter the keyword that I'm looking for, I won't get an alert on it. So it's not 100% accurate, because Google Alerts isn't about monitoring a page and then updating me when the content changes. The alert is only designed to look for mentions of the keywords or the business name and then report back the link to where that is. Okay. Most representation services use this feature or something similar, or for alerts. Okay. Should you use it? Yes, absolutely, you should use it. I think getting alerts is important because you do need to monitor, what's going on out there online. All right. Profile creation on social sites or inoculation. This involves creating branded profiles on as many websites as possible. WordPress.com, Tumblr.com, all those sharing sites, YouTube, all the major video sharing sites, Google Plus, Google, all the Facebook, Twitter, all the major brands or major players that let you create profiles. You want to create profiles for your business or your client so that you can take up that and take up that profile name on that site so nobody else can register that or use it, or or come in and squat it and then start posting negative stuff about your company. The goal is obviously to prevent people from creating profiles that should be yours. Okay? Any questions so far?
You know what, let me sit on some of these, Russ, and we'll lump them together in a little bit, if that's okay.
Sure. All right, content syndication is the other one, and this is used to suppress negative reviews to rank high. This type of content mainly can consist of press releases, but it's also syndicated content to sites to spin the business in a positive light. Article sites, free press release sites, blog sites, stuff like that. And then this is really done either when there's existing negative reviews about a company, or when a new negative review pops up, the firm springs into action and they generate all this content, put it out on the web, and then the traditional SEO backlinking starts, and they do this in an attempt to move that content up into the search rankings, suppress and move down the negative review. I don't particularly condone this method of reputation and review management because Google is onto this activity and it won't last much longer. I actually recall reading an article about that last month and kicked me in the butt. I didn't bookmark it, and I went back to try to find it, and I could not find it. But just as plain as we're on this call, Google is onto this activity, and it's called reputation spam, and they're going to be beginning filtering that kind of content because it clutters up the search engine results. So I don't really condone this type of reputation management myself personally. And then, of course, there's the astroturfing, which is the darker side.
Hey, Russ, let me ask you this. There's a few questions, and I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. Few questions on the astroturfing. Everybody knows about the product that came out early last year, and we're not going to pick on people's products, you guys, but I just want to, I'm not going to skip your questions either. So this one was LBO Robot, and I'll throw in Local Marketing Titan. Both tools designed to post, in theory, legitimate reviews on a multitude of review sites. Without getting into the ethics of it and whether the reviews are real or not, from what you put together, is the reality is if you're posting reviews as an agency for a client, and you post for 30 clients, you post 9 different reviews each, even if the client gives them to you and you think they're real, does that fall under that FTC astroturfing, or is that okay?
Yes, because you're not revealing. See, the FTC wants complete transparency when it comes to this. And so when the person who actually writes the review doesn't actually leave the review, you have to disclose that. Because there's a material connection. That's the problem. You're getting paid to do that. Okay? As soon as you accept monetary reward for doing that, you have to disclose material connection on the review or on the page. So it's very shaky ground by doing that. And then additionally, unless you're able to completely monitor the review that you're posting on behalf of the person that's doing that, if you risk the review being embellished or changed or altered in some way, maybe even a grammatical error correction. As soon as you change that, now it's a fake review. It's not a real review anymore. So, you know, I'm not trying to, I don't want to argue semantics. I'm trying to look at it from, you know, the letter of the law type thing, right? Because that's how I try to operate my business. I don't want to have any troubles. And I know none of you want to have any troubles. So you have to be really careful, okay? Fake reviews, obviously, that needs no explanation, guys. It's completely illegal. Paid and proxy reviews has to be disclosed when there's a material connection. And when you do that, you expose your clients and your own business to the legal ramifications. It's just not worth it. I know that there's a lot of tools out there that, you know, makes doing these things kind of easier. And maybe where these tools are located, maybe it's legal there. But the thing is it's not legal here. So
well, let me ask you this, just to play devil's advocate as we talk about it. So I'm with you. If it's a completely fabricated review, I'm actually reading the Wikipedia thing just while we're talking, and it seems to say, like, it has an example that's similar to what we're talking about. It's talking about somebody in the iPhones in the App Store, and there was a company that created, I can't remember how many it said, lots of fake reviews in the Apple Store to influence the purchase, right?
Yeah.
So I can't find, it seems to be one of those gray lines, right? I can't find anything that said if it's real reviews. Like, I had this debate the other day, actually at the Warrior event with, it was more of a discussion than a debate with somebody, and we talked about, what if you get real reviews? I was talking about my car dealer client, a new car dealer client, and I said, what if I get new reviews from them, I take them, I create the accounts in their name and post them on their behalf. Now, the review is done and signed by them. It's in writing. It's kept in a file. Is that astroturfing, or is that legal because the review is quote-unquote real? It's legitimate.
Well, it could be construed as astroturfing because you created the profile by proxy. In other words, the reviewer didn't actually go and create that profile to leave that review on whatever site that review was left on.
What if, okay, take it a step further. The gentleman I was just...
Go back to the perception deal, right?
Oh, perception-wise, yeah, perception-wise for sure. I'm just worried about legality-wise, that's all.
Right.
I'm with you perception-wise. I mean, because if all my clients at a salon knew the reviews were posted by the salon, they don't look quite as appealing as if they were posted by 12 other people, right? But if the reviews were done and legitimate and filled out on a card and dropped in a box and are all in different handwriting and by, you know, originally done, okay, is that really a problem? Or is it because of the proxy you're saying, because it's not by the actual writer?
Okay, if you go to a third-party site, you take that review card and you create a profile for the reviewer. Mm-hmm. That's a review by proxy. Okay, and it's intended to give the impression that the actual person left the review, and that's where the truth in advertising comes in. Okay. No,
it's interesting because what if I take? I mean, because I'm with you on this. What if I take it a step further? What if I had a what do you call it? What's
the phrase, like an affidavit, or like a notary stamp every time I got a review in my dealership, then is it legitimate because then it's been witnessed per se and it's licensed or something? That
disclosed to the person viewing the review.
That it was posted by the business and the real review's on file or something like that.
Yeah, you have to have disclosure where the review is because because the person that's coming on doing research online, they need to be disclosed that, because from their perception, and this is where the whole thing comes in, the FTC is trying to protect people so they understand that what they're reading is coming from a different source other than the actual person that generated it. Even though the actual, so like if you take a review card, and I'm going to give you a solution to that at the end of the call, which is part of my ninja secret, for review or comment cards, how to actually use those to your advantage correctly so that you don't have any legal exposure and you still get some good results with it. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's move on. Get over here and go to the next slide. All right, the dark side of reputation management. All right. Now, I don't want anybody, if I find out anybody doing this, I'm going to track you down. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to beat your butt. Okay? Here's what happens. Reputation firm sets up a domain and they get private registration. They set up their little reputation and review management website. Okay? Then they go out and register 10 or 15 other domains. They get private registration, and all those domains are review domains. They set up review sites. Okay? Then they go out and scrape all this business data and populate their now pseudo directory that allows reviews. Then they start picking businesses. They log into the site and they write some bad reviews. Then they turn around and they send an unsolicited email to the business owner that kind of goes like this. Hey, Mr. Business Owner, we don't know if you knew this or not, but we found some pretty bad reviews about you online. We can guarantee 100% removal for X amount of dollars. So and then they give links to where the bad reviews are, and then the business owner is scared out of his pants and all worried, and he goes and clicks the links. He goes and reads these crappy reviews and pays the money. Then the reputation management firm waits a few days. Obviously, they don't do it right away. A week or so or whatever. They log into the site and they delete the review. Then they email back the company, say, look, here's the link to the profile where that bad review was. We got rid of it, and they're charging business hundreds and thousands of dollars to do this. This is the darker side of what's going on in reputation management, and you need to be aware of this so you can educate your clients for this tactic. So if they get these unsolicited emails,
you know, you're so right, dude. I had this happen to me, Russ, last week. Remember I was talking to you about the business in Denver that had that problem with the 8-year-old newspaper article?
Yeah.
Okay, so I knocked that off through legal methods, I guess you could call it. But second, they had a rip-off report article, right? Totally fabricated. And you know what? The guy for $2,000 at rip-off, I think it was $2,000, offered to get it removed and take care of it for him.
Yeah, he probably wrote the review himself.
I mean, possibly. Yeah, Tom K pointed it out, and you're dead on, man. It happened to me personally last week. So, yeah, Barry out of Phoenix, there's a special place in hell for those type of people, scammers. So, yeah, I hear you, Barry. I'm with you. Yeah, and this is pretty dark. You know it's out there, you guys. Just because we don't do it, in general, I would say out of the people on this call, it's a pretty hardcore group. I mean, we got guys like David Mosheri with hundreds of clients. He plays it pretty straight and narrow. All of us do. You look at this, you look at stuff like this, for every one of us that are like this, there's at least one, if not more, people that do this kind of stuff.
Yep, it's really just opportunistic. They're playing on the fears of business owners, because business owners, you know, I used to own 2 roofing companies, a bridal store and a Japanese store, and you know, 3 of those I owned back in the 90s, just when the internet was infantile, really, and there wasn't even sites like Yelp around or ways to really even leave reviews online. But as I came into the 2000s and I was running my last roofing company, I became very acutely sensitive and aware of my online reputation and reviews getting posted online. And fortunately, I ran my company in such a way that I was, highly service-oriented and highly, addressing problems right away. Because the quicker I addressed the problems, the quicker I got paid for my jobs. But, today, business owners, I'm going to tell you guys, one of the best ways to close a client is to help them understand that they don't have to be afraid to start doing stuff online. The reason why they're afraid is because they're afraid that something might happen to damage their reputation. But it's completely manageable to manage a reputation. You're not going to keep 100% of everybody that does business with you from going online and leaving, a less than desirable review. But there are things you can do to manage that. A lot of business owners are afraid to start doing stuff online because they're afraid to ruin their reputation. All right, or their reputation might be exposed if they're not a very good business. All right, so we've covered pretty much what's going on in the reputation and review management industry. Let's look at some statistics. This is my favorite part of the show. Okay, so now some of these statistics are old, guys, but the numbers are astounding, and they've only actually gotten better. I could have kept, this could be like a 50-page slideshow. I just stopped posting all the stuff that I have found online. Stopped putting it in. A highly rated product will increase the likelihood of purchase for 55% of the consumers. So again, social proof, right? 45% say that 45% of people say they're influenced a fair amount or a great deal by reviews on social sites from people they follow. So recommendations. 46 say reviews in newspaper or magazine also influence them. 70% of online consumers consult reviews or ratings before purchasing. All right, so we're all in the internet, pseudo-internet marketing industry. What do they always tell you to put on your landing page? Social proof, social proof, social proof, social proof. What are reviews? Social proof. Okay? 97% of UK customers are willing to trust online reviews, and over 2/3 rated product ratings and reviews as the most helpful feature while researching products to buy online or on the high street, whatever high street is, I guess, going to the actual store. Okay? 75% of the reviews posted on review websites are positive. Isn't that nice to know? Take that with a grain of salt because there's a certain percentage that are fake. 41% of respondents said that they read between 4 and 7 reviews before they felt comfortable with the purchase. That is not a lot of reviews. And you'll notice on Google some spaces have, hundreds of Google reviews. People don't read all those, man. They only need 4 to 7, and they're ready to make a decision. Okay? 63% of consumers indicate that they are more likely to purchase from a site if it has product ratings and reviews. Keep that in mind, okay? 71% of online shoppers read reviews, making it the most widely read consumer-generated content. Think about that for a minute. Reviews are the most read consumer-generated content on the internet, above everything else. That's crazy. 90% of unhappy clients will not do any business with the same company again. However, 95% of unhappy customers will return if an issue is resolved quickly and efficiently.
Russ, that's for sure. I can vouch for that. I mean, we've all had a problem, right, where someone, I don't know, maybe it was support. Heck, it could have been with me or with somebody you guys buy from. You have a bad experience, but then the support or the customer service team does a good job, all of a sudden your attitude changes, you feel better about them, and you feel happy that you got personal attention. I mean, I personally react the same way. I go in somewhere mad and somebody takes care of me, my anger goes away, I feel happy, and then I'm in a positive attitude again.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times, some of you probably know that I'm the creator of GP Scraper, and a lot of times people would buy the software, and they're like kids on Christmas morning. They get it, they install it, they start using it, they don't bother to watch the videos, and then the next thing you know, an hour or two later, I get a ticket. This doesn't do like you said it would do. I want a refund. Da, 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 da. And I would respond, and you know what? Given the refund is never the issue for me. I was always told them, okay, well, you can get a refund, but I'd really rather just make sure you set everything up right, or did something, maybe you're doing something wrong. And I saved so many refunds and ended up with a happy user just by responding to them quickly and figuring out what their problem was, what they were doing, or what if there was a bug. Then, I'd get a hold of Manfred, we'd get it fixed within 24 hours. They'd be up and running, and they were happy. And then no more refund requests. So, being on top of support and addressing the problem quickly and efficiently is very important. And let me share with you another statistic that I did not put in here. You guys are going to find this really interesting. Did you know that most negative reviews left online are the last resort? Okay? Consumers use posting a negative review online as a last resort to getting their issue addressed. What that really is saying is that businesses aren't providing an anchor point where customers can go and leave feedback that is seen by the right person, and seen in a reasonable amount of time, within 24 hours, let's say, and then followed up right away. All right? What happens a lot of times? You call up, hey man, you delivered my pizza and you forgot the pepperoni and it's cold. Okay sir, what's your name, number, we'll pass it on to the manager and have the manager get hold of you. Then the manager never calls back. Then maybe they go to the website and they try to fill out the contact form and that thing doesn't work because it wasn't set up right. So then they still don't hear back from somebody. Then they call up maybe the third time and end up having to leave a voice message, or they don't even bother and they just hang up. And now they're kind of like frustrated, so what do? They go to Google, they start searching online, and they find a place to go leave a negative review, and now they feel better. That's how a lot of negative reviews get put online, because businesses aren't connecting with their clients in a way that's it doesn't change. It's like an anchor point, I like to call it, where they can tell their customers, here, go here to this spot right here on our site or wherever. This is where you need to leave feedback. It's kind of like our support ticket system. They don't have support platforms. They don't have a way to effectively and quickly address customer complaints, especially online. Okay? Reviews drive 21% higher purchase satisfaction and 18% higher loyalty. Okay? That means that the social power of reviews is not only it can increase your site conversion, or the conversion of the point where the reviewer has already done their investigative work. Now they're looking to make a buying decision. The reviews will tip that buying decision into making that decision to buy by 21%, and then you have a higher percentage of loyalty among your customers by having positive reviews online. Okay, 92% deemed customer reviews as extremely or very helpful. Okay, and 92%. I copied that twice by accident. Didn't catch that. All right, so we're on to the next one. See? Okay, among first-time buyers on review-equipped sites, 42% said they were the primary factor. Think about that. Your first-time visitors, 42% of your first-time visitors are going to be swayed by positive reviews. Okay? 92.5% of adults say they regularly or occasionally research products online before buying them. You might as well just say almost 100%. Okay? I know that my daughter, she's 21 years old. She doesn't even know what a Yellow Pages is. She gets all her information from the internet. She researches companies. She looks at reviews. And that's what helps make her to make a decision to either go get her nails done over there or get her hair cut or go buy this or go buy that.
Hey Russ, Keith Avery wanted to know the source for that last bit of info.
Big research. The source is down at the bottom of it.
Oh, you see it, Keith?
Big research.
It's the last part of the slide. I see it.
Okay. 71% agree that customer reviews make them more comfortable that they are buying the right product. So what does that mean? It really takes the fear out of making the purchasing decision. That's a Nielsen online holiday survey. As of October 2008, almost half of U.S. online adults read ratings and reviews at least once a month, and up to 19% post them. That's a pretty good percentage. Okay. 31% of reviewers contribute to social shopping sites to feel like they're a part of a community. Now, isn't that interesting? Yelp is a big community. They're actually a social community, guys. And the reason why people's reviews get filtered is because they only log in to create an account to leave a review, and they don't participate in the community. That's the trick to Yelp, guys, right there. So going and creating an account for that person that turned in a review to the company on Yelp just to leave that review is worthless. It's going to get filtered. You stand a good chance of that review getting filtered. Now, that doesn't mean it's non-existent, but you have to go to the profile and click on the filtered reviews link, and then it will show up, but it doesn't actually show up on the profile page. Yelp is a social community, and they want their members to be social and contribute to the community and the site and leave reviews. Okay. Ratings and reviews is the second most important site feature behind search. Is that crazy, right? Who would have thought? Are you guys starting to get the picture of how important reputation and reviews are online? It is, I'm telling you, this is what Google's looking for. When we hear about all these updates for Panda and Penguin, and I'm predicting that the next one's going to be called Orca because it's black and white, what do they say? We want sites with good usability and sites that people trust. Well, what builds trust? Reputation and reviews. So it all comes back into reputation, online reputation, and online reviews, and doing it right. It all comes back to that because that's what builds trust among searchers. That's what helps bring people to your site. And when they start leaving reviews on your site or on other third-party sites, those are social signals. Those have ranking power. I know, Brian, you said you were doing a case study on using social signals for ranking, and it's just kicking butt, right?
Yeah, no, I've been doing it for a couple months now. I mean, I think social, call them social signals, call them whatever. I mean, in another 6 to 12 months, there is no more backlinking, guys. I mean, it's all going to be social-based search, if you will. So I think we all know that. We won't pound it in anybody's heads here, but yeah, I mean, this is the only way to go. That Yelp review and name, address, and phone number, it plays a big role in the ranking, so it's important.
Yeah, and
stuff like that.
And you know what? It builds an audience, and that's what you want. You want to build an audience. You want to build your brand that has a voice on the internet. That's your reputation and your reviews. Once you build a voice on the internet, you're going to build an audience, which is a following. But once you have a following, you're going to get rewarded in Google. That's how it works, guys. All right, customer reviews create 74% increase in product conversion. All right? Customer reviews have a 10% increase in product page views within just 2 days of launching a review on a page. Think about that. And then there were two others. Within 30 days, it's 15%, and then after 30 days, it's like 15 or 20, I can't remember. But I only posted one of those here. What do we want? We want page views, right? We want traffic. We want people to come and see what others are saying about our brand or our business. When asked how much they would be willing to pay for a service based on the quality of service, consumers were willing to pay up to 99% more for an excellent rating than for a 4-star rating, depending on the product category. Is that crazy or what? If your product is $100 and you have a 4-star rating, people are willing to pay $200 for a product if you have a 5-star rating. Let that sink in for a minute. That is a powerful, powerful statement right there, guys. Let's see, I think I clicked my mouse twice. Okay, next slide. All right. So there's two types of reputation management, guys. There's the proactive and the reactive. Pretty much we've mainly discussed the reactive methods. Monitoring for alerts, monitoring which is done through alerts, and content syndication, and which is usually done if you have a client that has, let's say a client comes to you and they already have some bad reviews that they want to rank. You have to go into the content syndication and try to get content out on the internet, and then you got to get it ranked, so you start suppressing those negative reviews. And or if you're doing some monitoring through alerts and then something pops up, you have to spring into action and create more content to get rid of that review as well. The problem with the reactive approach is that once that negative review is online, the damage is kind of already done, and depending on where that review is, you can never get rid of it. Okay, this is the big pitfall right now with a lot of the services that's going on with managing online reputation. It's all reactive. So the damage is already done once it's on the internet, and is it effective? It's effective now. It might not be effective in the next year or so as Google starts to pick up on all the content that companies are syndicating with the intent to manipulate the search results. Because that's really what we're doing here, is we're really trying to manipulate the search results. All right. Proactive reputation management is setting up systems that leverages a business's existing customer base and site traffic to intercept potential negative reviews before users have the chance to put them online. Instant notification through these systems affords business owners to initiate a conversation with unhappy customers and rectify the problem, and unhappy customers return and become fans because the business actually had a system in place to quickly respond and fix problems and address the issue that the customer had. Okay, I'm kind of going through these kind of fast. So what should we use, proactive and reactive? Well, the answer lies, guys, in both methods, because you want to have something, you want to have a blended approach. However, I don't condone astroturfing or fake reviews or reviews by proxy. You got to keep it legal. You have to disclose any connection that you post or that are posted on behalf of your clients. You want to use alerts whenever permitted, and whenever permitted on a review site, you want to engage and respond to negative reviews. Like on Google, you can respond to a review. I believe on Yelp, you can also respond to a review. So having a negative review online, I think it's far better to engage and respond, if possible, than it is to create all this content to try to just hide it. I think it's far better that the consumer sees that you are actually addressing it and willing to have a conversation about it. You never want to argue. You never want to accuse a reviewer of being fake or being a competitor. You never want to do any of that. You want to remain professional and diplomatic when you're able to respond directly to a negative review online. Okay, so this is very important right here, guys. Always remain professional. Don't get into a fight or an argument, and never accuse them of being fake or anything like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the good, the bad, and the ugly in the reputation management. Now, you asked me earlier in the call, Brian, about what if we get comment cards that's signed by our client, our customers, and our client gives it to us. How can I get those online, without astroturfing or, breaking any laws? Well, some of you know that I was going to reveal a little secret that I use, and I'm going to go to that slide right now. You can actually get your client's actual website to appear in their Local Plus listing right here. Right below all the Google Plus reviews is the reviews from around the web section. You can actually get your client listed right here. Okay? It's possible. I've done it before. And here's how you do it. The first thing you need to do is you need to go, and this is for you guys that are using WordPress sites, you need to get from the WordPress repository, it's a free plugin called WordPress Customer Reviews. Okay? All you need to do is just install this plugin and create a page, a review page, on your client's blog. And what you do is you take the comment cards, and of course you always want to disclose on your page that these reviews are from actual comment cards submitted by our clients. As long as you disclose where the review came from, you're fine. But if you're hiding, if you don't disclose that, it appears that you're hiding behind and giving off a false perception. So as long as you disclose this on the page somewhere, you're good. Okay. So what you do is you create a comment card or a review card. You include 5 stars. You ask the customer to rate you by a star and leave their comments and leave their name. Okay. Then you take these cards and you post these on your review page. And the beautiful thing is about this plugin uses the HReview and micro format. So Google picks it up and basically inserts these in the reviews from around the web section of your client's Local Plus profile. So not only do they have the link to the domain when you create your client's Local Plus profile, in the dashboard you enter in you enter the business name, the address, phone number, and then you have the field for the URL. Not only do you get that URL down there, but you also get the mention down here. It'll say joesplumbing.com, 25 reviews. All right? So people going to, because what you want to do is you want to try to get as much leverage as much as you possibly can to get people to go to your site, to your client's site. So if you can get them to if you can get that set up and get a mention down here, people will click on that and go read those reviews. And it's awesome. It works. It doesn't work immediately. You got to give Google some time to find the page, you get it indexed, and decide, okay, this is a review from around the web. They consider reviews on your site as a review from around the web. It does not have to be ServiceMagic, Referral List, Yelp, Yahoo. It doesn't have to be just those kind of sites. It can be your own client sites. That's awesome. It's so simple, guys. Just get the plugin. WordPress, it's free. It's called WP Customer Reviews. You can search for it from the plugins panel of your WordPress site, or you just go to the WordPressSite.com and go to the plugins and search for it and download it. But it's an awesome little plugin, and I didn't even actually realize that that would happen. But last year I started using it on some of my client sites, and we took their cards. Actually, he didn't have cards. My client had, he scanned in letters that people sent. So what I did was first of all, I would create the review, type it out, and then I would include an actual image of the review on paper with the review. So that anybody seeing the review could actually see that it was a written review by somebody that was mailed in, but then Google could see the text of the review because I actually typed it out as well. And I don't really remember how much time lapsed because I wasn't specifically looking for it to happen, so it wasn't like I was checking their profile every day. But I think it was like a month or 3 weeks later, I went and checked out their Google profile, and I saw their site down at the bottom, and I was just about fell on the floor. I was like, they got hot. And then that's when I figured it out, that the plugin that I was using, because the format that they use, Google picked it up and inserted it right into their listing. Now, how's that for a feather in the cap if you can go to your client and say, not only can we help you rank, but we can actually get your own website mentioned down at the bottom of your profile. So, Brian, that's what I suggest that you do with the comment cards.
Okay. Nope, that makes total sense, Russ, for sure. Let's see. I want to hit you with some questions, though.
Okay, that's the end of the slideshow. So, yeah, time for questions.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure. Okay, there's a bunch of good comments and questions. So, guys, give me 1 second. And I want to go back to the beginning and take a few of them. Let's see. I'm skimming them. Okay, John Thomas asked a question early in the call, and he said, you know, the reality really is what happens if everyone has a 5-star review online? I mean, reviews become worthless. So, I mean, I think that observation is true. If everybody has a 5-star review, then there is no value in reviews. None of us would use them. I mean, if every restaurant had 100 A+ ranking everywhere we go, no matter what, who cares?
Yeah, that does look a little suspicious, but if you go and ask any of your clients, given the opportunity to control what's going on, if they would prefer, just ask any of your clients if they could prevent negative reviews from going online, what do you think they're going to say? They don't want any negative reviews online, business owners. You're never going to prevent that, but that's their mentality. Most often than not, they're going to be like, well, if I could control what was going on, I wouldn't want any negative reviews online.
That's right.
3, 4, and 5 stars, that's fine. But like he said, you know, oh, whoever's got all 5, that is, look, even I'm in the business and you're in the business. If you go and read some reviews, and all you see is 5-star, 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 what do? You start clicking on those profiles to see where else, you know, you start doing a little investigative work because immediately the red flag is raised. That gut feeling, all 5-star ratings, that doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't make sense. Because not everybody's going to be happy, and you should be getting some 3 and 4 stars. Any other questions? I know some of those other questions. Go ahead and ask.
Yep. Let's see. So a lot of people didn't like the name AstroTurfing. Some general feedback, but yeah, it's kind of it's outside of it has nothing to do with internet marketing or the Warrior Forum. It's a bigger picture term, I think, guys. Eric asked early in the call. Eric said, Russ, would this also include? Would this law or series of laws, the FTC stuff, cover competitors posting false reviews about our business or our client's business?
No, that would fall under defamation and libel.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That would be under defamation and libel.
A lot of fear around that exact point, that people's competition are posting reviews that attack them. You know, like even my brother's AC company, we were chatting the other day. He noticed one of his competitors got a horrible review, and to him it looked like it was written by another AC guy. And I said, yeah, you don't want to go anywhere near that. He goes, no, I would never want to get into that kind of war. You can't win. It's one of those mutually assured destruction, if you will, if both companies start doing that. And the last thing you want to do is be guilty of libel or slander, for sure.
That's right. And there's some new algorithms coming out that actually Cornell University created an algorithm and did a test run for hotels in the Chicago market, and the algorithm is actually more effective in finding and identifying fake reviews than humans are. And as we go along, that algorithm is going to get rolled out, and they're going to be catching more and more fake and malicious reviews as time goes by. So you definitely don't want to get caught doing any of that. But, you know, go ahead.
For all you guys saying that my volume is too high and Russ's is too low, I know I'm trying to turn my mic down and meet you guys in the middle, so I apologize. If it's still too loud, let me know. I don't mean to be too loud. Okay, here's a comment. Let's see. Amy Blaine asks, Russ, is it okay to offer an incentive to post a review to your clients, for example, via a postcard? So if you post a review for X company by October 31st, you'll be eligible to win this new car or this fancy T-shirt. Is that okay?
That's a material connection, and you should probably disclose that.
Let's see. Next one is Danny out of New York. And Danny, I look forward to seeing you in a few days out in Vegas. So Danny said, what about taking a review from a customer and placing it on the business's site? And I think when he asked this, you hadn't gone over it, but it's a great idea, and you saw how Russ talked about that obviously a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, Kevin, long time no talk, said, is there a problem having someone on Fiverr doing a video review at this time for either an offline client or a ClickBank affiliate site?
Absolutely. Because you've paid for that. That's a material connection. It has to be disclosed.
Yeah, but Russ, what if you didn't pay? What if it was free and you had people posting free reviews? What if I was in a fraternity and I had 100 fraternity brothers and I called them up and said, guys, I need a favor. You know, I know it's been 15, 20, 25 years, whatever it's been. I need you guys to leave reviews for me on my business. What about that?
Well, again,
I'm making this stuff up, Russ, so not trying to stump you.
Of course, I'm not a lawyer, but I think you would be okay there if you did not guide them in what to say.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so Scott asks, Russ, any comment on something better than Google Alerts to find, this is early in the call again, to find good and bad information about your clients coming out?
Brian's product that's soon to be released.
Yeah, and you guys, I got to think about how to do that. I do have a review monitoring tool that I built for some of my franchise clients, and Russ has actually been instrumental in helping me get it built by our team. And I'm gonna probably give all the offline Renegade members access or something like that. I got to just figure out if there's an easy way to do it. So, all right, Russ, what about? Yeah, I think we answered this, but for Chick, let's answer it again. Russ, so Chick asks, what if we have the client's written consent and there's no fee or money exchanged or any kind of incentive? And I think he's talking about posting again, and I think you kind of hit on that earlier in the call.
Okay, that's a review by proxy, and that has to be disclosed.
How would you disclose it if you actually did want to do a review by proxy? What would be a proper way? And guys, please know neither Russ nor I are lawyers or attorneys in any way. So we're just navigating these waters just like everybody else on the call. So Russ, what would you think is a way that you could navigate that review by proxy and handle it right?
I would, you know, okay, in the spot, in the text box, wherever it is that you're going to write the review, I would write the review and then put like maybe a space or two and say this review was posted on behalf of, you know, the name of the customer, something like that. There's just got to be some kind of disclosure, because you cannot give the perception that it's coming from the real reviewer when it's really not being posted by the real reviewer. That's the whole crux of it. Is it's all based on the perception. And if the reviewer is left with the impression that if the potential customer is left with the impression that the review was posted by the actual customer, then you're already into deceptive trade practices. So you have to disclose.
All right, got it. And just commenting back to some people here in the chat. Let's see. All right, Russ. How about Keith Price? Yeah, Keith said something similar to you. This is an actual review that was posted by a third party who received compensation for their time. It almost sounds like an infomercial. He's saying if you included that in the review, then you would actually be legitimate in your mind?
Yeah, if they were paid, or if the actual customer was paid to leave a review, then that has to be disclosed. That would be, and as long as you disclose that, then you're fine.
Yeah, and guys, this is only dialogue, but imagine if you, interesting. Yeah, and Joseph Mack, I have some more information on that. Maybe we could talk about it later on your comment about our three friends, but maybe hit me up on Skype. So this is interesting. Somebody else said, hey, if you did what Keith just said, and Russ, what you were talking about, you could actually influence the numeric score and still be legitimate by posting and just saying it's a paid review.
Yeah.
Obviously, they would have little value if anybody actually read them, but you could, on a first glance, legally influence the numeric score, something to think about. And, yeah, Kevin brings up a really interesting point. And, Kevin, more than likely not, but you never say never. Kevin said, is the FTC really going to go after the small business? He comments, I would think with their limited manpower, they're going to focus on the bigger businesses with major violations where they can hit them for millions and millions of dollars of fines and, just really hammer them. So that's kind of a point. Obviously, we don't know the answer, you guys, but what do you think, Russ? I mean, are they going to go after Procter & Gamble, who's been cited, or do they go after Joe's Plumber in Des Moines, Iowa?
Shit rolls downhill, guys. Who's to say if they're not going to, the thing is if you always want to try to operate your business from a standpoint that doesn't expose your client to legal ramifications. Because you never know, maybe, look, what happens if you're doing, you're astroturfing or you're doing reviews by proxy and you're not disclosing, and the Attorney General from the state that you live in comes in as looking for a service that your client provides and reads reviews, and they all start looking a little suspicious. You never know who's going to visit your site. You never know who's going to visit your client's online profile. So you have a duty to, a good faith duty to not put your clients at risk, especially legally. When I was in the Army, I'll use this as an example. When I was in the Army, whenever we went out to the field to train, we had to be what's called in uniform. We had to wear our helmets. We had to wear our gear around, our gear that strapped around our waist. And we always had to carry our rifle. That was the uniform. But I was young, and I was a private, and I was 19 years old, and I'm out in the field with my sergeant, and I'm seeing guys walking around the field without their helmet on, or without their weapon, or without their gear on around their waist, and I thought it was okay for me to do it. But my sergeant would say, look, Private Hayes, just because they're out of uniform doesn't make it okay for you to be out of uniform. And a lot of people use that as an excuse to justify, well, everybody else is doing it, so if I don't do it, I'm not going to be as effective for my client, and this and that and this and that. That's not the way to look at it, guys. You got to just look at it from the perspective that you're actually doing better for your client in the long run. It's going to have a lot better sustainability as the review algorithm starts to come into play, as Google starts to filter out this what we call, reputation spam, content spam, and all that stuff. If you keep it clean all the way down the road, man, you're going to get immensely rewarded in the long run.
All right, let me, just because I'm trying to be mindful of everybody's time, I want to hit Russ with a lot more questions. We're getting a lot of good responses, and we've got, as usual, Russ fires people up. Russ is not a gray area kind of guy. I will tell you, Russ is very polarizing. A lot of people love him, and some people hate him. But you know what? That's why I wanted Russ on the call, because he's not afraid to say what needs to be said sometimes. So I love it. Let me hit you, Russ, with some other ones if you don't mind. All right. Lots of combat. When you talked about the black, what'd you call it, the black hat method of like faking reviews to hurt people and then helping them fix them, I think I have 45 posts about scumbags and other nice, other choice phrases. So, yeah, even David even talked about how a previous company he had was actually killed by this method when competition, virtually shut him down due to bad reviews online that people were faking about him. So yeah, stuff like that happens. And, I will tell you guys, we don't have time to go off on this tangent, but locksmiths, you Google that for a little bit and you want to read about some interesting negative PR and reviews from one smith to the other, if you will. So, all right, let's see, for Russ. Couple comments on the Cornell thing. Yep. And all right, there is going to be a review. Okay. Yep. We are going to. Russ, do you mind if we give the slides out to everybody? There's a lot of people asking that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't try to write all this stuff down, you guys. I mean, please.
Oh, Brian, you have a copy of it. You can post it in.
Yeah, I'll get the team to post it with the replay video, so y'all will have it.
Upload
and
it.
Just remember one thing. There is no right answer. These are our opinions, and while we like to think we're right all the time, that's not true. But, I mean, at the end of the day, everything Russ is saying is true. If you had only real reviews from your client that legitimate customers of theirs posted organically over time, is that better than Brian taking reviews with LBL Robot, hypothetically, and posting them rapidly to accumulate and kind of create a presence? I mean, you can argue it either way, but in my heart, I tend to think that as a business owner, I would rather have the organic one over time. I will tell you that all of my legal clients, you take this for what it's worth. I have a lot of attorney clients, and when I talk to them about rep management, I have one of them, the personal injury guy, right? He's in rip-off report from 5 years ago because he charged, I don't know, a couple $1,000 retainer. The guy got pissed. They obviously didn't win the case or something happened. And he's asking me about getting rid of it. And when I said I could kind of wash it out with some new ones if he'd provide them to me, going down that path, he immediately said no, he didn't want to do that. The only reviews he wanted are if his clients posted them themselves. So here's a guy, and look, he's just an attorney. He's a trial lawyer, tort kind of guy. But he was very concerned because he has ethical considerations with the bar. I can speak to that directly. Every attorney I've ever spoken to will not go anywhere near posting ones they get from their clients or obviously fabricating them because their license is at stake. So that says a lot about where the white hat area is. Doesn't mean you can't get away with gray hat. And I will tell you guys that about a week and a half ago, I did some probably bad stuff. I broke a website on purpose. A page, not the website, just a page. It was a 7-year-old post that was ranking number 1 and 2 for every keyword I had for this customer. And look, at the end of the day, I mean, this is amongst mostly friends, right? At the end of the day, my job was to make them look better online and to get them ranked and to remove the bad stuff or flush it down. So I did some things that, at the end of the day, the page broke, right? I then reported it to Google as a bad URL. I'm not saying that the site was bad in any way. That specific page had a bad URL. It was a broken link, if you will, right? Within about an hour, actually it was like 41 minutes, I think, because Peter timed it, it was gone. And I just used the standard Google method to report a bad URL and get it de-indexed. It came out. Now, is that legal? I don't know. I don't intend to get in a legal discussion about it, to be quite honest. Is it right? That was right for me. at the end of the day, if I had to like defend what I did in like a church or something, would I feel like I was on steady ground? Probably not. So I'm just saying while there's no 100% black or white. I think all of us are probably guilty of some gray. You just have to you have to know in your heart what the right thing to do is. And I think without anybody telling us, we probably always know what that is.
Yeah,
so,
we do.
Just sharing that, for what it's worth. Here's a good one. And Joseph asks, man, I got to find it again. I don't remember the exact question, Russ, but they were talking on the Google side. The way they show reviews, the date, the sequential order, it seems to have changed. They used to be sequentially by date, and roughly 6 months ago, they changed. Any thoughts to that? Or do you know what yeah, this is Joseph Mack. Do you understand what he's talking about?
You mean in the order that they appear in the Local Plus profile?
Exactly. So they used to be by date, and now they seemingly change. So there seems to be, some positive and negative, regardless of age, near the top, and not just sequentially by age, newest to oldest.
Yeah, I think it's Google's attempt to ensure that there is both sides of the story being shown. But quite honestly, guys, you know what? I came out with Google Places Zen-Master last year, and I still do Google Places or Local Plus now. But man, I don't even bother to try to get my customers' clients to leave reviews on Google Plus. It's such a barrier to entry that I haven't even been reading. I don't even read the reviews that, if they get any. I just haven't been paying attention to it, quite honestly. Most people just abandon it 5 steps into the process. I try to get my customers to go to sites that let them connect with their Facebook account credentials. That's the easiest way to get people to put their positive reviews online. There's, the sites like Super Pages, Insider Pages, Kudzu, there's still a lot of major directory sites out there that let people just connect right away with their Facebook credentials, and they can leave a positive review. But I think that's Google's attempt to just show both sides of the story.
All right, that's good. Let's see. All right, yeah, I'm gonna make a quick comment to you guys. So, yeah, somebody made a comment that it's really your internal compass, and I would probably agree with that. Let's see. Here's a good one, you guys. Russ, I keep offering, once again, extension, free ticket, you, guest, daughter, friend, spouse, anything. A lot of people want to meet you and would love to see you in Vegas. This was from Patty, and I think Russ did have a previous, an engagement that overlapped. But you guys, just for what it's worth, I'm putting him on the spot. Russ, you have an open invitation, if not this one, then in January at the mobile conference or the next search conference to show up. We'd love to have you.
When again is the one in Vegas?
It's the 12th or 13th. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. So.
You know what? Oh wait, I don't know if I'll be able to come. I actually am trying to get moved to a new place this month.
I don't. Oh man, I don't envy that at all. So best of luck.
Well, I'll try to come. I want to meet everybody too, and I used to travel every single year for 15 years when I was in the insurance restoration business, and in 2009 I decided to retire. I had some life changes, and you know what? I just decided I really don't want to travel that much anymore. But I do want to meet everybody too. Maybe we can set up a live stream just for me, and I can get on there. Everybody can meet.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, we should talk about that for sure. That'd be kind of funny. And yeah, Joseph, I'll send you a message. Let's see. So, all right. So, Zagat removed the stars for AdWords Express. This is Josh. Places listings in the SERPs are being minimized. Local just doesn't seem as effective as Google is continuing to throw local under the bus for further monetization. Yeah. It's a nice comment from Josh. So you want to talk about that, Russ?
Well, we all know that Google's a for-profit company and they get all the revenue from ads. And I think that they're eventually going to go to a much higher rate of ads showing and displaying. And I'm actually starting to try to rank my clients' sites now in the organics over their plus profile because of merged results. So sometimes you get like the A spot and then an organic, or sometimes you'll have like 3 organics or 4 organics and then the A spot. So really you just have to, it's really still all about the site. And the amazing thing is that, you know, some of you may have bought the Google Places Zen Master course. I'm actually going to redo that. I haven't even changed any of my methods. And, you know, I still have client listings and from 2010 that have test listings that I set up to test this method that haven't even budged anywhere.
What about that Xbox one you showed me a few years ago? Is that still up there?
Yeah, dude, it still ranks. We just checked it last month. It ranks for its main keyword phrase with geomodifier, without the geomodifier, and it ranks for all its categories with and without the geomodifier. And then if you do an image search or a video search, I'm like 8 out of 10 on the first page.
For what it's worth, I did this. I remembered the search, and I see it as letter A down in Atlanta here. Is that the West Madison address? Is that you, right?
500 West Madison, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you are on West Madison, my friend. I'm gonna come up with a law to check that one. So, all right, let's see.
I had 5 test sites when I was testing the method, and you know, eventually they got nuked because they were fake listings. Okay. So they weren't real businesses. The only one that got left that's still hanging on is the Chicago Xbox site.
Yeah, that's cool. And you know what? In honor of football and Patty and the Chicago Bears, we got to take one more, and then we'll make some comments and shut it down because I hear you, Patty. Yeah, Gene, you know, just so you know, I started checking, seeing what was going on for your post. That's so funny. She posted something she meant to send to her partner. Let's see. All right. Let's say I'm pick a good one, you guys. Let me pick one more good one, and not that they're all not good, just to share a larger. Yeah, Marshall, I couldn't agree more with your comment. All right. Sorry, I'm losing the voice here. All right. At the end of the day, assuming that you don't want to go down the, and there's, some of you may say it's okay, and that's okay too. If you don't want to go down the LBL robot track, Russ, you don't want to go down the Brian posts it with a IP hidden kind of approach. You don't want to go down any of those routes. You want to go completely natural, but you want to give it a little bump, right? You want to push it a little. Petra says, what exactly would you recommend? What's the best way to get positive reviews for our clients? Is it to use postcards or emails to try to prompt them to leave a review on their own, give them the site? Like, for instance, I have a couple mobile sites, and the mobile sites make it easy for them to post on Yelp by making sure they're on Facebook first and make them easy to post on different sites. What do you think? Is there any one way that you think will give you a little extra edge to getting your client to leave a review, Russ?
Well, there are some systems, and I have my own system, but we're not here to talk about that. But it's a proactive approach. But even before that, you want to teach your business, your clients, to create a business culture that engenders clients to want to leave positive reviews, because that's where it all starts. Okay? It starts with the culture of the business. You know, you want to always be asking your customers to leave reviews. Not everybody's going to do it, but it doesn't matter, because you have to just think long term. All right? Maybe, so, you know, you put a link on your site to your profile or whatever. You put it on your receipts. Maybe you get a little mobile app developed for your client that takes customers to the various profiles or whatever. And you create a culture within the business so that that's, because reputation is the golden egg, guys. Reviews and reputations is the golden egg. If you can get that system working and get that culture mindset in the business to be My goal is to wait on my customers so that they have an outstanding experience. This is something I've taught my daughter, okay, because my daughter went around with me for years, since she was 8 years old, watching me sell, roofing projects, siding projects, little $7,000 deals all the way up to $50,000 deals. And you know what she watched me do? She watched me field my customers' complaints, go out to the job site, get it fixed, get it corrected, make sure there wasn't any more issues or problems, and then collect the check. All right? She watched me do this. So now she's in one of her first jobs. She works at a company that has a small franchise. It's a restaurant franchise that I'm actually going to go after. She applies the same principles that I applied in business at her work. You know that she is responsible for combined more reviews in the month of September, more positive reviews in the month of September than the whole history of the company in all 22 locations. Okay, because her attitude is that, her mindset is that she wants to make sure that every single customer that she takes care of is happy, very happy. She'll go beyond what she would normally, what most normal people would think of to make sure that customer's happy. You know what happened within a week and a half after all the corporate uppers found out that she was getting all these positive reviews? All the suits showed up to the location where she works in. And you know what? They didn't introduce themselves to her. They were just kind of checking it out, see what was going on. What's going on in this store? Who is this Rebecca that's getting all these reviews? What is she doing that, nobody else is doing? So the reason why is because the company never set up the culture or mindset that my daughter has. They could have been getting these reviews all along. And they could have been probably getting more because they kind of have a defunct system for getting their clients to submit their feedback cards. They tell them to go to their website. Not everybody remembers what location they were at, so they just put in whatever and all that stuff. But still, she probably has more. Some people probably just abandoned the process, but some people went ahead and went through. And
all right, Russ, I got to stop you. We have one last one, and it's a really good one. And let's end with this one because now I got to find it. I scrolled too far. All right, Gordon. And I think this may answer the reality. Talking about the review by proxy discussion you were having, Gordon makes this comment. I believe the TOS, the terms of service, for many of the primary review sites prohibit posting by proxy even if it is actually disclosed. So disclosing that would actually get the review deleted, or worse, having the review site delete the business profile. Russ, any comment to that, he asks?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that some sites do have that, and I think Yelp has that as well.
Yelp definitely has that. I'm a Yelp Elite member, which means I like to leave a lot of reviews and go to their little parties and stuff like that. It was just something I started doing early on, and I'm positive on that one. I'm very careful to stay away from that issue. So, yeah, I think you guys, you see the landscape, and I think that the fair thing to state is there is no right answer. Russ made the comment there's no association. There's no CTIA that, like on the SMS side. There's nothing putting out best practices. You got the FTC self-regulating or beginning to regulate since people haven't done a good job regulating, and who knows in the we could speak to the U.S. where it's really going to go. But at the end of the day, you run a risk if you fake a bunch of stuff. It may be an acceptable risk to some of you, it may be not, but you have to. It was Mr. Daigle that commented on the internal compass. You just got to find out what's right for you. I've done some things, and I'm okay with it. There's other things I haven't done, but only you or I or others know the right thing. And we all know the lines to never cross, right? I don't think anybody on the site would say, on this call, pretty good group of people, would say, hey, Russ, I think it's great. I'm going to start a new business called Review Stud, and I'm going to post bad reviews about businesses, then I'm going to sell them, and then I'm going to clean them up.
Yeah.
That's not the people on this call. So I think we all know that would be a big mistake.
I guarantee you that's none of my customers, and that's none of your customers, Dave.
So for sure, you guys.
Real quick before we go, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being long-suffering with my long-windedness. But I want to just reiterate something, or just clue you in about something that's going on in my life right now, and Brian hopefully is going to be a part of it. But it's just, and I'm not going to say this to toot my horn, but it's to help you understand the gravity and seriousness that businesses are starting to take with review and reputation management. I was recently approached by a gentleman that has an investment firm that owns 1,000 malls. They have 9,000 tenants, and the main core product that they want to offer their tenants is review and reputation management. Think about that. Huge investment firm. I mean, they're worth multi-millions of dollars. And what are they interested in? They're interested in helping their tenants with review and reputation management, and mobile as well. So it's really a big business, guys. It's something you should be adding to your repertoire, and it has awesome SEO benefits. You got to just get out there and do it.
All right.
You still there, Russ?
All right, Russ. I love it. Yeah, and you know what? I obviously have been super excited about that, and maybe we can share more, in the near term. But for everybody on this call, I want to thank Russ, and we may do another one. I want to ask, like Mosheri and other guys on this call, I'd love to have some others on here in the same topic around rep management, where we could get another webinar. David, I mean, possibly one of the best webinars. Two of the best webinars I've ever been on was one Russ did on sales a couple of years ago, and then David's 3-hour marathon on referral strategy that he had done. And I'll tell you guys, anybody on this call right now, put in a support ticket, or if we chat, send me a Skype or something. I'd love to set up another call where we could kind of delve deeper, and not just me. I mean, I already know my opinion, and you guys might know what I would do, but I like getting others that are kind of thought leaders and making it happen and sharing what you guys think and spurring discussion. So anyway, enough said. And for everybody else, I hope to see most of you in Vegas. If you're not coming to Vegas, there's an OR super discount price. It's half off, basically. All right, a little bit under half, about $20 under half or something. And if you're on the fence, we'd love to see you. But other than that, that's it, I think. Russ, let's wrap this up. And sorry, my voice is gone. And what we will do is send the link to the recording and the slides out probably around lunch tomorrow. So, all right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And Russ, as usual, great time. Thank you very much.
Awesome. It was my pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Okay. Thanks, Russ. Talk to you in a minute.
Okay. Later.
The organizer has ended the session, and this